Welcome to SibSpot. Today's episode features pro-revenge Reddit stories. Our first story is from NeitherGlove4355. Brother ruined my wedding by proposing, so I ruined his proposal. Throwaway account. I, 35 male, have a young brother, Todd, 29 male, who had a complicated birth and had to stay a month in the ICU, and because of that, my parents have always doted on him and almost denied him nothing, even if it was to the detriment of my sister, Abby, 32 female, and I. My brother drinks in on the attention and has on more than one occasion made himself the center of attention at either my sister's, or a cousin's special event. Because of this, Abby and I have a strained relationship with Todd and our parents. Unfortunately, Todd met and fell in love with Lucy, 24 female, who announced her own pregnancy at the baby shower my mom held for Abby. When I proposed to my wife, Michelle, 30 female, I wanted to elope, but she really wanted her family to be there, so I invited my family out of obligation. While out, my best man, Jim, 35 male, noticed a receipt from a jewelry store slipped out of Todd's pocket. Jim confronted Todd about this, which led to an argument. Jim told me everything, and I told Todd that he was no longer going to be a groomsman because I knew he was going to propose at my wedding. Todd cried to our parents, which led to a blowout. In my parents' eyes, since Todd never admitted he was going to propose to Lucy at my wedding, I was unfairly judging him. I refused and brought up Todd's past behavior. My parents couldn't refute this and got Todd to agree to not try anything at my wedding. This wasn't enough to convince me to let him be a groomsman, but I warned him that if, as a guest, he tried anything, I would make him regret it. Fast forward to the wedding, and surprise, surprise, Todd walked over to Lucy and proposed to her during Michelle's father-daughter dance, and did it in a way so that everyone would notice. Cue my revenge. Jim and I hired a woman to pretend to be Todd's side piece, who cornered Todd and Lucy and claimed that she was pregnant with his baby. Todd denied this, but when she called his phone, I gave her his number and messed with Todd's phone to incriminate him. It didn't look good. Lucy threw the ring back at Todd and left in tears. When Todd saw the smile on my face, he knew that it was me, and I didn't respond to a single call or text from him or my parents until after the honeymoon. Lucy has thrown Todd's stuff out and has been denying access to their kid. Todd is furious and demanding that I clear his name. I sent him a text saying I had no idea what he was talking about, as well as a screenshot of a bill for the wedding, and gave him a vague message demanding reimbursement for half the wedding costs. Michelle knew the whole time what I was planning and gave me the green light after Todd ruined her moment with her dad, so I felt pretty good, but now even Abby thinks I went too far. He said he wouldn't do it, and did it anyway, so that's pretty scummy. But did his brother go too far? I think maybe. Relationships aren't always easy to come by, like good solid ones. I'm the kind of person that wouldn't care if somebody proposed at my wedding, but during the father-daughter dance is also kind of scummy. It may be your day, but you don't own it. And why not just be happy someone else is going to be happy? It just seems like it would be way less effort to just say congrats and go back to the love of your life. Story 2 is from Don't Give Up the Shoe. Lying and using people? I got you. This one needs background to fully understand why I went out of my way for this revenge. My best friend was married for 10 years. He was with his ex for a total of 13 years. He was absolutely head over heels in love with her, like I'd never seen before, which I never understood due to her alcohol abuse. She would take it out on him, and when he'd be venting about it, he'd always fall back on, "It's not her, it's the illness." A very respectable and admirable stance on it. Last year, she asked for a divorce because after years of what I would call abuse, he had simply run out of gas. Her reasoning for asking for one? When she got fired for testing positive for weed, he wasn't empathetic enough. He admits he wasn't, because it had come on the back of one of her drunken tirades where she told him he was a piece of garbage who was always trying to control her. when all he ever tried to get her away from was booze for the way she treated him when she was drunk. It took him forever to move on from this, with the divorce following shortly after. And earlier this year, after thinking he was moving on, he calls me to come over and he's in a bad way. I arrive and he is absolutely fall down level of drunk. Going on that she didn't ask for divorce for those reasons, that she really had been cheating with several other people. The next morning, when he's more coherent, I ask him how he knew. He was cleaning out the spare room and selling and donating things he didn't need anymore, and when he went to clear an old tablet, she was still logged on and all the evidence was there. He gets that out and says he's going back to bed and asks me to lock up when I leave. Before I left, I looked over at the tablet. After seeing what I saw, I wanted to find a way to get even with the horrible and conniving woman, so I took pictures of it all and left. When I got home, I started looking up information about these people. 2 of them were just normal guys. Whether they knew she was married or not, I don't know. But the third comes up as a registered sex offender, still on probation for being such a disgusting pile of garbage, and address listed as 123 Lane, City, State. Chomo knew she was married. He's calling this guy Chomo because he's calling him child molester. I immediately knew what I was going to do. Chomo didn't live at 123 Lane. Chomo was living with the conniving ex. She made regular posts about their time together. On top of that, she is an avid weed user and has several firearms because she enjoys sport shooting. So I go into the state's sex offender site and make a report of Chomo not actually living where he's registered, and that Chomo is living in a home with what he has no right to, being a convicted felon and on parole. I include screenshots of the social media posts to back it all up. I was thinking little would happen, but an inconvenience to their lives. Boy, was I wrong. She broke her typical post with nothing serious trend on social media yesterday with this gem. My year can't get any worse. Chomo lost his job and now I'm facing eviction because I can't afford my rent. So I go on the state court system site to see if it's related. And yes, it was. Chomo was rearrested. She clearly can't post bail or Chomo would be out. The job she took after being fired definitely can't support her lifestyle. So he's probably going back to prison or at least jail, and she's a breath away from being homeless. I don't know if I'd ever tell my best friend I was the one behind this, but he is definitely ecstatic to see a horrible woman and sewer rat get what they deserve. Part of me wants to put up the sex offender registration link and show that he's sitting in jail and say something to the effect of, "It's little more than losing a job, but not wanting to make my best friend's life harder, I'll just let sleeping dogs lie." It's always kind of interesting what you learn, like the slangs. This chomo is a prison slang that I'd never heard of before. This is my first time seeing it. Our next story is by Reddit admin Dumb87. How I got a car dealership to give my friend a newer car. Circa 2020, January, my friend makes a stupid decision and buys a brand new car he can't afford. His insurance is like $400 a month. He makes like $10.25 an hour working as a shift supervisor at McDonald's. His car payment is like $795 a month. Now at $10.25 an hour, 30 hours a week, that's a weekly income of about $300 a week or $1,230 a month. So yeah. So my friend came to me for help because I used to sell cars and I know the industry pretty well. I go over his paperwork. The dealer did rip him off, but my friend is trying to find a way to get out of this mess. And ripping someone off isn't illegal. They did, of course, charge him for warranty. They gave him a higher APR. They had add-ons, etc. But none of that is illegal, and I know the only way I can get my friend out of this deal is if they did something illegal. So I look at the finance application that my friend signed. It correctly listed his income, which turned a light bulb on in my head. No bank is going to approve someone for a $795 car payment if they are only making $1,200 a month. It doesn't make mathematical sense to do that. So I start searching through his paperwork for the finance app the dealer submitted to the bank. You oftentimes, when you submit a finance application at a dealership, the dealership will take the hand-filled-out application and reproduce it electronically. This is pretty normal. However, on the application the dealer submitted to the bank, the dealer said that my friend was a GM of the McDonald's and made $70,000. My friend had good credit, so it doesn't appear like the bank asked for proof of income. So I go to the dealership with my friend and tell the sales manager he's going to want to put me in touch with the GM because we are going to be unwinding my friend's deal and giving him his trade-in back. The sales manager thought I was joking. The GM also thought I was joking. Then I demonstrated how his dealership finance department committed bank fraud. I showed the GM the finance app my friend filled out. I then showed the GM the finance app his dealership submitted to the bank and pointed at the income difference. My friend really makes $14,000 a year. The dealership claimed my friend made $70,000 a year. That's bank fraud. That's a felony. Let's keep this simple, shall we? The GM sees his dealership is in a load of trouble. The proof I am presenting to him is rock solid. He knows it, I know it, we're all on the same page. He goes, "Okay, so what can I do to make this right?" I go, "Unwind the deal, give my friend his trade-in back." Unwinding the deal is basically the GM agreeing to cancel the deal and basically erasing the deal and pretending it never happened. GM tries to avoid that, but I remain firm and remind him that we can easily take this documentation and make his life heck. He knows I'm right. My friend also needs a car to go to work with the next day. The GM says he'll check into it and comes back and tells me unfortunately they sold his trade-in already. I said that's fine. Unwind the deal and let's put my friend into something as good or slightly better than what he traded for. So the GM goes, "So he'll buy a car similar to his trade-in?" I said, "No. You'll give him a car that's similar to his trade-in." The GM goes, "It doesn't work that way." I go, "It does when you commit bank fraud." GM is upset with me and I remind him I'm being really nice and this situation can totally get really ugly. Like felony level charges ugly. Like losing your franchise ugly. So yeah, this is gonna hurt, but it's going to hurt less my way. So the GM goes, "All right," and he looks in his inventory and tells me they have a 2007 Focus with 10,000 more miles on it. I tell him, "No, the car you give my friend needs to be the same or better than what he traded in." The GM counters, "I'm giving him a free car." And I go, "No, you took his trade-in, you sold it, you made money off that sale, you also committed a felony in the process of selling him his new car. You are now correcting that mistake. This isn't a free car for my friend. This is, you are correcting your mistake." GM insists that's what he's willing to do. I tell him if he can't do better, then we will go to a consumer protection attorney and have a conversation with them. My friend didn't want to go this route, but it was our plan B. We go to get up. The GM says, "Wait, give me a second." The GM goes, "I have an '08 Civic. It has 5,000 more miles on it, but it's a Civic and not a Focus. I'll unwind the deal on the new car and put your friend in the Civic at no extra cost." We agree. GM has the paper drawn up. The old loan on the new car is canceled. They take in the new car again, but because it's already titled, they have to sell it as used. That sucks for them. And they gave my friend a better car than the one he traded in. For people asking why we didn't get a lawyer involved from the start, we could have done that. But courts take a long time, and this was a faster way to fix the situation. It really pays to have friends like this. They can really help you get out of a tight spot if they really know their stuff. Only 3 episodes for today. Some of them were a little bit longer than stories in the past. I really hope you enjoyed them. Until we meet again, have a fabulous day.